All right, let's get right into this explainer. Today, we're forensically breaking down that heartbreaking 2026 World Cup semifinal to uncover exactly how England's 60-year dream unraveled. We're going to look past the emotional headlines and drill strictly into the tactics, the data, and the real-time decisions that defined this massive clash in Atlanta. And the absolute crucial starting point for us is the number 37. Because 37 is the exact amount of minutes it took for a hard-fought 1-0 lead to completely evaporate into tactical self-destruction. That specific window between Anthony Gordon's opening goal and Lautaro Martinez's stoppage time winner is where this semifinal was truly lost. So to give us a really objective tactical autopsy today, we're going to follow a pretty structured roadmap. We'll start with that 37-minute collapse, then look at how the pitch was completely surrendered, the fatal back five trap, the massive error of gifting Messi so much space, and finally, we'll talk about that missing England DNA. So, kicking things off, let's map out that exact window where the momentum just violently shifted. Think back to the 55th minute. England executes this absolute masterclass of an incisive counterattack. Declan Rice finds Morgan Rogers, who slips it to a perfectly timed blindside run by Gordon, and bam, it's 1-0. But then, instead of pushing for a second against a reeling defense, we see this crazy domino effect. Argentina's manager, Lionel Scaloni, immediately starts layering on attacking threats, bringing on Nicolas Gonzalez. And Thomas Tuchel, he responds in the 72nd minute by shifting into a heavy back five. From that moment on, the pressure just becomes totally unbearable, paving the way directly for the 85th and 92nd minute goals. That passive retreat leads us right into a true statistical nightmare, surrendering the pitch. Literally right after that 55th minute goal, England just plummeted into this ultra-defensive shell, and the result? A suffocating 12% possession. Just 12%. Look, defending a lead obviously requires staying compact and keeping your concentration for sure, but you absolutely have to have an outlet. You need a way to escape the pressure. By retreating so deeply, England effectively stopped playing football altogether, letting Argentina dictate the entire rhythm of the game. When you dig into the raw data, it's honestly claustrophobic. England barely mustered an attack. They managed only 5 passes, in Argentina's half during those entire last 37 minutes. Meanwhile, Argentina registered 15 total shots to England's 5, and they had an overwhelming 28 touches inside the opposition box compared to England's 7. By cutting off their own counterattacking outlets, England guaranteed that every single time they cleared the ball, it was just going to come booming right back at them. They didn't lose because they couldn't suffer. They lost because suffering became literally their only strategy. Which brings us right to the managerial chess match, the whole action versus reaction dynamic, and what became a fatal back five trap. You can see such wildly different philosophies from the dugouts here. Tuchel continually added extra defenders just to survive the onslaught. He brings on Ezri Konsa, Dan Burn, Nico O'Reilly. Basically, he was trying to recreate that ultra-defensive Azteca plan that helped them survive Mexico with 10 men earlier in the tournament. But Scaloni, he masterfully built a siege. He didn't just throw on random strikers, he escalated the threats in layers. DePaul for delivery, Montiel for width, Gonzalez for the far post, and finally Lautaro Martinez as the ultimate penalty box finisher. Scaloni multiplied the ways his team could score, while Tuchel just multiplied the number of guys standing near his own goalkeeper. And frankly, by taking off Anthony Gordon, Tuchel essentially told Argentina they didn't have to worry about defending the space behind them anymore. And because of those deeply defensive substitutions, we get an absolutely catastrophic spatial error, gifting Lionel Messi the most dangerous real estate on the pitch. By dropping 5 men across the backline to combat those incoming crosses, England totally abandoned the D. That semicircle right on the edge of the penalty area. Sitting in a low block is fine, but someone has to protect the edge of the box. With the midfield sinking back so far they were practically holding hands with the defense, that crucial second line of attack was just completely ignored. As pointed out in the tactical analysis, dropping your defensive trenches 20 yards out gave Lionel Messi an unchallenged playground. When you build a bunker that deep, you are literally handing the world's greatest creative hub a totally free sandbox, right in the exact location where he is most destructive. For the first hour, Messi was actually kept somewhat quiet, but in that final half hour, operating in that unmonitored inner right pocket, his influence just skyrocketed. And it played out meticulously, almost making the equalizer feel inevitable. Step 1, off a short corner, Messi gets the ball entirely unchallenged. Step 2, because the entire England defense is terrified of a cross and totally hyper-focused inward on the 6-yard box, Messi just calmly scans the pitch and spots Enzo Fernandez standing completely unmarked in the D. Step 3, Enzo takes the pass, has all the time in the world to get his feet set, and just drills a phenomenal strike past Jordan Pickford. It was an incredible goal, yes, but that defensive structure handed it to them on a silver platter. And just minutes later, that exact same lack of pressure allowed Messi to curl in the cross for Lautaro's win. So stepping back from the tactical whiteboards for a second, we really need to do a broader cultural autopsy here and talk about this missing England DNA. Just listen to Harry Kane's incredibly raw admission after the match. He said, "Once we went 1-0 up, we seemed to just try to hold on." Man, it's like a ghost from the past, right? Major shades of the 2018 semifinal against Croatia, or even going all the way back to Brazil in 2002. The FA has spent the last decade trying to wire in this England DNA, a culture of intelligently dominating possession, but clearly the default instinct when the pressure reaches a boiling point is still just to retreat into a shell. Contrast that passivity with Tuchel's own words about Argentina's fearless DNA. He pointed out that in their footballing culture, defining yourself through the ball demands natural self-confidence, and above all, it demands courage. When Argentina went behind, they didn't panic. They demanded the ball more, they stretched the pitch, and they escalated their attacks. But when England went ahead, they just became terrified of losing what they'd just gained. So, as we wrap up this look at a tactical collapse that swallowed a World Cup final, I'm going to leave you with this final, provocative thought to ponder. Was this 60-year tournament drought just the result of a bad substitution in the 72nd minute? Or is there a deeper cultural inability to play with courage when the stakes are at their absolute highest? Thanks for joining me for this explainer. Keep analyzing, keep questioning, and we'll catch you next time.